First things first, let's test out that braking performance. You may remember a couple of years ago I tested the petrol model, and during heavy braking the back wheels actually pop off the ground as the nose dives down. So we'll see if this new diesel version does the same thing. I've since spoken to a number of engineers over the past 2 years, one from Porsche, one from BMW, one from Hyundai. They all said under no circumstances should the rear wheels come off the ground, especially during braking. That's an emergency situation. You do not want the rear wheels leaving the ground. I think it's absolute poor engineering. So we'll see if this new model has been updated and been revised to fix that. According to the Vbox, the stopping distance is what I would describe as terrible. Like, this is a completely dry road. This is where I test every vehicle, and most vehicles stop between 36 and about 43 meters from 100 kilometers an hour using the Vbox. So this is a device that uses GPS to time the precise moment the vehicle starts to stop to when it actually comes to a complete stop. If we have a look here, the last test I did, 50.82 meters. That's what I would expect of a decent vehicle in the wet, or a proper heavy duty off-roader with very serious mud bogger off-road tires. Even the Raptor stops in around 46-47 meters. This has got Michelin Primacy tires. They're not cheap and nasty tires, and they're not all-terrains either. Aside from the braking performance, this is basically the same package as before, just with the diesel engine option. 2.4 litre turbo diesel 4-cylinder, 135 kilowatts. Just gives a different option compared with that petrol, which was a little bit thirsty and wasn't actually that quick. Then the hybrid as well wasn't actually that quick and wasn't actually that economical. So the diesel could be a good option for you. I think it's an interesting package. It looks cool. It's got that sort of Jeep Wrangler look about it. Awesome approach and departure angles. Very good off-road, serious off-road focus actually. But weirdly, it comes with those highway terrain tires. So when you see vehicles like this, they usually come with all-terrains. Why wouldn't you? That's what it's set up for. I found the handling to be a little bit sloppy, a little bit soft in the petrol model. So we'll go for a drive now and see if that's been changed at all. First impressions, yes, it is a little bit firmer, and it seems to be a better handling package. Now, it just depends what you want it for. If you live at base camp at Mount Everest and you're off-roading seriously every single day, then it's acceptable to have kind of sloppy handling, lots of suspension travel and whatnot. But this, you're going to be driving it on the road to some level. And the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, which is the closest sort of competitor that I can think of that is so focused on off-road, still handles okay, and it has pretty decent braking performance, and the rear wheels don't come off the ground. Just before we go though, we'll quickly check out the interior. It's a great package really. It's got good refinement, fit and finish. The material quality seems good. Contrast stitching, leatherette style trim in most areas, soft touch materials, not too much in the way of scratchy plastics. I love the aviation style air vents across the dash. They're inspired by Mercedes-Benz in my opinion. Lots of physical buttons as well, so it's great. You can just make selections on the move, air conditioning button, temperature control button and all of that. Then down on the console you've got all the drive modes, front and rear diff lock and all that sort of thing. Seating comfort is really good, soft seats, decent driving position as well. You can lower the steering wheel up and down and pull it in and out. I'd like to be able to pull it out just a little bit further, but even so, it's pretty good driving position. And then in the back, it depends on what you compare this to. It's officially up against the likes of the Ford Everest and Toyota Prado, but it's a little bit smaller than that, especially for the width. You won't get 3 big adults across as comfortably as you can in those specific rivals. But for this type of vehicle, like a Jeep Wrangler, I think it's pretty good. The floor is almost completely flat as well, so you've got good leg room, and you've got twin USB ports and twin climate vents that you can direct either side, so that is good. Cup holders as well as a center armrest. And then up at the back, side swinging tailgate, pretty basic kind of boot layout. You do have some hooks and so on, 12-volt socket on the wall. The boot floor is quite high. You do have a little bit of extra storage underneath there, but yeah, it's not the biggest boot in this class. But again, if you compare it to a Jeep Wrangler rather than a Toyota Prado or Ford Everest, it's not too bad. You've got a little netted pocket on the side. as well as on the back of the inside of the tailgate. You've also got some hooks there that are apparently rated at 3 kilograms. To start with, let's just leave all of the safety systems on. I've got lane keep assist on, lane assist on, driver monitoring camera on, and just see how it behaves, because the first Tank 300 that I drove was quite annoying. Like, it was erratic. It pulled the steering wheel all over the place when it thought you were going off the road, and the driver monitoring camera kept going off for no reason. So far, so good. I'm driving around this country road, around bends, getting a little bit close to the lane markings. Let's just see how it reacts when I take my hands off the steering wheel. Actually, it doesn't pull me back onto the road at all. So it's gone the opposite way, where it doesn't actually seem to do much at all. I'll try that again. So it should pull the steering back onto the road. That doesn't seem to be doing anything. That's, yeah, not doing anything at all. So I don't know what's going on there, but anyway, it's better than having it over the top, pulling the vehicle all over the place. In terms of the chassis and suspension, it does feel like there have been some improvements. I didn't hear anything from GWM regarding the rear wheels coming off the ground during braking, so I don't know if they've actually fixed anything or changed anything. The diesel engine would be heavier over the front end, so that might help plant the front end a bit more, so it's not so bouncy and floppy, but it does feel a bit more together, a bit more refined. It's still soft, there's still a bit of travel, but it does feel more refined. Even over these bumps, it's got that kind of rubbery quality to it, where it's just, yeah, it's not crashing or banging, it's not flopping all over the place, it's just sort of thudding and holding the vehicle nice and securely. I mean, it's not the best suspension setup in my opinion, but for this style of vehicle, considering the price point of this, it's not too bad. Here we go, got the steering working again. That's really strange. So if I go towards the lines, it doesn't do anything. But then before, it grabbed the wheel and helped me go around the corner. That's actually really unusual. Around these big sweeping bends, yeah, there's a little bit of body roll. It does feel like the front end is leaning over a little bit, but it's not too bad if this offers excellent off-road performance, which I know it does. We'll try it out in a minute, but I think it can kind of get away with that. There's some tolerance there where you, yeah, like a Jeep Wrangler. They're not the best on the road, but you forgive it because it's got excellent off-road performance. All right, let's just try that again. Go around this bend, hold the steering wheel lightly. It's not grabbing the steering wheel at all, whereas just before, around that bend, it helped pull the vehicle around without me doing anything. That's really weird. Yeah, it's not actually providing lane keep assist, even though it is turned on. Emergency lane keep assist is turned on as well. What about that diesel engine? It's pretty quiet, it's refined, it's not too clattery and noisy. It is on the outside a little bit, but on the inside, which is probably where it matters most, it's fairly refined. Yeah, like it's cruising along. It's got decent mid-range and low-end torque. It doesn't have much up in the top end. I'll just show you. I mean, we're going down a hill, but I'll give it the full power. Yeah, it doesn't offer the best performance, even for a diesel of this sort of caliber, but you should be able to get decent economy. I'm averaging 9.4, but I have done performance testing. I did see it at around 8.8 before performance testing. I reckon you could get it down. Again, it just pulled the steering wheel then, but now not when I go on the wrong side of the road. Yeah, you could get around 8, I reckon, or 8.5 in the real world with normal use, which is going to be a little bit better than the 2-litre turbo petrol engine. The steering is actually not too bad. It does feel mechanical, and I've got a general sense of what the tyres are doing. Like it's, I don't know, it's got that raw feel to it. It's no Porsche 911, but for this style of vehicle, I think it's okay. I do like the steering wheel itself as well. It's got a nice size rim, nice to hold, 3 spokes, not awkward to look at or anything like that. And as I said before, like the interior is, there's nothing wrong with the interior, I don't think. It's quite surprisingly classy for this price range. Yeah, the gearbox is not too bad as well. It'll change down when you push the pedal a little bit, but then it remains in like a higher gear to help with economy, but not so much that where it, you know, full labours the engine. One thing I do notice though, if you do back off, it kind of keeps accelerating a little bit, but there was also a couple of clunks that I noticed when you're in sort of stop-start traffic. There's a steering wheel again, so it's pulling the steering wheel then, but then it just gives up. It's really weird. Like it's got all these, just showed the truck going off the road there. I don't like these visualizations because they're not accurate, so why show them? Like it just showed the truck off the road. If that's what the car's seeing, that's not good, is it? So just don't show us that. Just get rid of that. Show me the rev counter or something like that. But yeah, it's really weird how, again, the steering's pulling there. But, yep, now it's almost pulling me off the road. Yep, it's got it there. Yep. It's on and off. It's quite intermittent. Don't want to hit old mate on his lawnmower. So now it's pulling me on the wrong side of the road. So yeah, I think that does need some fine tuning. Like, what's it trying to do? That's what I don't understand. Is it helping me? Because it doesn't seem like it does. So maybe just do without it, or definitely refine it and tune it so it does actually help. Alright, let's head out to the hill climb and see how it does off-road. On dirt roads, yeah, it's pretty good. Like, that suspension is walking a nice balance between softness and absorption, but also not too soft that it's skipping over the top of bumps. I've got decent stability, decent control. Try the braking. ABS doesn't work the best on the dirt, I suppose. But you've still got decent steering control and all of that. It feels a little bit soft actually. The front end is just a bit squirmy. And we've got a bit of drift happening, and I didn't really mean to. Whereas, you know, other utes and so on, 4x4s that I've driven around this exact same road, they are a little bit more planted, but I suppose they do have all-terrain tyres on them. Even if they're mild all-terrains, they're going to provide more grip than these highway terrains on dirt. Okay, off-road and the hill climb. This is a common climb I've been doing with a lot of the 4x4s and utes over the past couple of months. I'm going to go up to the middle section just there. Puts a lot of load on the front right wheel, while the rear left wheel drops down into a bit of a mogul, and then the other two are sort of pressurized. But it's very slippery, very steep. It probably doesn't look that steep on camera. You have to excuse some of the rubbish around here, people dumping stuff, which is a bit of a shame. Then we'll go over to the right hand section, which is more about the suspension and drive system load, whereas this is more about grip. I'll put it into 4H. We've got a display here for all of your telemetry, your angles and all that sort of thing. I've got front and rear diff lock, but they're not, I'll leave them open for now. I've got the center diff locked as per 4H, and we'll see how it goes just in this sort of default 4H mode. I haven't touched the stability control button, it's gone into its own mode. So this is not even in low range. I'm going to go into the worst line that I can find. Bit of wheel spin. Yeah, a little bit too much wheel spin. Just take that a bit slower. Yeah, too much wheel spin there. So what we'll do, just put it in neutral and roll back a little bit. Now this is going to be a bit of a test as well, starting halfway up the hill, but I'll put it into low range. That control is a little bit flimsy. It's actually quite easy to spin around. So entering low range. Is there, oh yeah, there's a symbol up here, 4L. And again, won't touch the diff locks or anything like that. Stability control hasn't been touched. I mean, the button hasn't been touched. Just gradually feeding the power. Yep, it's just spinning the wheels. So those two diagonal wheels are just spinning while the other two are compressed. So what we'll do now is put it back into neutral, roll back a little bit, and we'll hit the rear diff lock. So I have been up here, by the way, with some models in just 4H without touching anything else, and they have got up, including the GWM Canon Alpha plug-in hybrid. That walked up here just in 4H without touching any diff lock or any mode or anything like that. So we'll try the diff lock. This should help quite a bit. Because it will stop that wheel spinning away. Yep, that's much better. It's just walking up there. Even though the front wheels can spin independently, yeah, it's just walking straight up. Now this section it's not hard, it's not difficult, but it definitely pops the rear wheels up in the air on most vehicles. We'll see how much flex this has. Yep, the back wheel's up in the air. A lot of pressure on that right-hand rear wheel. But no scraping of the side skirts or anything like that, side steps. That's done well. So what we'll try now is I'll turn the diff lock off and I'll activate one of these terrain modes and just see if that helps out. Mud, sand, rock mode, mountain mode. Bumpy, slippery conditions mixed with mountains, hills and soil and stones. Pothole mode, normal mode. All right, we'll try mountain mode in 4H. Sorry, 4L, but without the diffs locked. Again, I haven't touched the stability control button. We'll slow it down a bit actually, just to, so momentum is not on its side. So it's still spinning the wheels, even in that so-called mountain mode. Go back a little bit. Yeah, that's not getting up there. We'll try a different mode. Rock mode. This automatically locks the rear diff, okay. What about mud and sand? We'll try that. That hasn't locked the differential by the looks of it, just the center. We'll just see if the stability control can handle it. No, it's just spinning the wheels. I'll go back a little bit actually. No. I'm surprised because, you know, this is known to be pretty good off-road and it's just spinning the wheels quite a bit. And as I've said, I've been up here in a lot of utes and in 4x4s, even the Range Rover Sport, and it pretty much walked up here once you put it in low range. The stability control activates some mode in low range in most vehicles, as it has in this, unless it's turned completely off by itself. But they don't spin the wheels like that. So, I mean, in some circumstances, like on sand and in very thick mud, you want the wheels to keep spinning. You don't want stability control, you know, slowing you down. So I'm just a little bit surprised though. I thought it would walk up a little bit easier than that. I mean, it can go up very easily once you activate the diff locks and everything, but I just thought it would go up a little bit easier just in low range. I thought it would go up in 4H actually, like some SUVs have. So I'll put the diff lock back on. We might as well activate the front diff lock as well and just see how easy we can get up here. It's good to have the surround view camera, and it is kind of transparent. Once you start moving, it's a little bit more, no, not really, it's not completely transparent, but yeah, look at that, it's just walking up no problem whatsoever. Yes, if you look at this one, you can see like what's under there a little bit, but it's not completely transparent. It's like a little bit opaque. I'll try that other section now with the front diff lock. You can feel it's very tight over the front end. Disconnect that just while we taxi back to the bottom section. Okay, so for this part, I'll turn the rear diff lock off and just leave it in 4L. I don't think it would go up in 4H. If it didn't go up there in 4H, it's just going to spin the wheels once they're unweighted on this section. I think this will spin the wheels quite a bit too, just in 4L. And it's definitely got some sort of stability control thing happening in 4L. Just leaving the power down a little bit. I've only got the pedal, you know, about a centimetre down. Okay, so it does get up. It's spinning the wheels a little bit, but it's catching the wheel spin and pulling me up. So now we'll try with the diff locks and just see how easy it does it. Actually, before we do that, we'll go down and try the hill descent control. It might not look like it on camera. I know I've said this about 1,000 times, but that is quite steep. It's, you know, it's hard to walk down that without, you know, almost tripping over. Hill descent control on the side here. The little symbol on the dash will pop up. Tip it over the edge. It's always a bit of a hairy moment going over the edge. Back wheels slightly in the air. There we go. Feet off the pedals completely, and it's just controlling me. Controlling the vehicle as we go down. It's a little bit abrupt actually. I've had smoother systems than that. It's kind of letting it go, then catching it. But even so, it's providing full control and stability as we go down this very steep section. Okay, whack it into neutral, hit the front and rear diff lock. Go back to this view. I've got the tyres at the standard pressures, by the way, 36, 37 PSI, a little bit lower than a road pressure considering they're warm. I haven't touched them, that's just how they were when I picked it up. So now front and rear diff locks, diffs locked and in low range. We'll listen out for any wheel spin. I don't think there will be any. Excellent, no problem whatsoever. There we go, the Tank 300 with the diesel engine option. I think the diesel does go well with this style of vehicle. You've got lots of low down grunt and torque. Although the turbo petrol does provide plenty of mid-range as well. I just think it's even better with the diesel. You've just got that churning low-end grunt. It's not as peaky either. I think it is better off-road as well because you just rev it slightly off idle and it's already providing decent amount of torque, where the petrol, you've got to rev it a little bit more. Fuel economy is definitely going to be better in the real world in the long run. I reckon you get about 8 to 9 litres per 100, whereas the petrol, you're looking at about 10 or higher. Even compared with the hybrid, I don't think that's very good on fuel either. I would pick this if I was going to buy a Tank 300, pick the diesel. In terms of the off-road, look, to be honest, I thought it would walk up here a little bit easier than it did in 4H. Now, I know you're meant to engage low range with stuff like this. It is actually safer as well. You're not spinning the wheels as fast. But it's just the way I've tested vehicles. I always like trying out the sort of entry mode, the most basic setup, and then working my way through the different settings. And I have driven up here in other SUVs and utes in 4H, including with road-oriented, highway terrain tyres, and they have managed to drive up here. It's completely dry today as well, so there's no sort of excuse there. However, it does have front and rear diff locks and low range. The drive modes, those terrain modes, don't seem to make that much difference. I mean, we tried it out there and mud and rocks or something, and then mountain mode didn't really make that much difference. You're better off if you're going off-road, low range, lock the rear diff, and then if you have to, lock the front diff as well, which is quite unique for this class. you'll be able to get up pretty much anything. Good ground clearance, good flex from the suspension. If you are serious about off-roading though, I would change these tyres. I put all-terrains on there and you'll get even further. In terms of on the road, the suspension does seem to be a bit better than the original petrol model that we drove. It's not as sort of floppy and sloppy around corners. It still is a little bit, but I think it's more tolerable, and considering it has good off-road performance, you kind of give it some allowances there. Braking performance is not very good though, and although the rear wheels don't pop off the ground anymore, they might, one of them might have slightly on one of the tests, but not as much as the original model. They both popped off the ground quite easily under all speeds that I tried, whereas this, it was maybe just one wheel at a certain speed and it might have jammed the brakes really hard and it just come off the ground, maybe. But the braking performance, the stopping distance is still very, very long in my opinion. It's actually longer than the original test that I did. It was about 47 meters, I think, with the rear wheels popping off the ground. So they've obviously made some change there, or the diesel engine has made some change as well. It would be heavier over the front end, as I said. I think they need to fix that. Interior refinement, practicality, features, value for money is all still very good. All right, let's go out now and do the performance test and see how it goes.